So I'm very excited to introduce Thalia. Thalia is a beautiful 17-year-old girl that I know from Brisbane, Australia, and she has some really interesting stories, real life advice, and some real challenges that she wants to share with you today. So Thalia, thank you for coming on board. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about you? What is it like to be you?
Yes, so I, as said, live in Brisbane and I'm currently in grade 12. So that has been a lot of my year this year. I am super extroverted and I love people, but I've also been working through this year. How do I want to interact with the world? How do I want to interact with people? And what are my values and what are my purposes? So a lot of those things about me and what it's like to be me has been changing a lot this year. And I've had to learn to be okay with that. But school, it takes up a lot of my time, obviously. And then I also work at a cafe on the weekend. And my faith is really important to me. So I'm plugged into a church community as well, which I enjoy. So that's kind of my three big things in life. And then also a lot of leadership stuff at school too. So I was school captain this year and I've always been a part of leadership things throughout high school. So that's been a fun way for me to make school more of a community and feel more engaging and just fun each day as well. So I guess that's a pretty basic rundown. So yeah.
Wow. And so you seem to keep yourself pretty busy, but at the same time, making time for personal growth and personal work. That must be very important to you.
100%. I think I'm a person of high integrity and my values I stick to very closely, even though it can be hard sometimes. So yeah, challenging myself, always trying to grow, make time to journal and relax and go on a walk and just spend time decompressing, because otherwise I can't do everything else in my day. But I'm definitely very busy. So it's this year as well, it's been learning how to take really effective breaks and learn to say no to more things so that I can protect my time a little bit more. But yes, involved in lots of things within the community because that's what I'm passionate about.
Amazing. And decompressing is so important, because if we don't take care of ourselves first, how on earth are we meant to help other people? So I totally understand that.
Yeah, it's definitely a struggle, but learning slowly how to take care of myself a bit better. But yeah.
And you mentioned something really important. You said about your values, how you really like to stick true to your values. Now, this is something that a lot of young people are kind of uncertain about. How do they find their values? What are their values? And kind of, if they make them, how do they live by them? So I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on that, like about values in general. How did yours come about? What are you guided by? Yeah.
So I actually have a podcast called Good Luck Charlie. And this whole year, it's almost acted like a bit of a journal. And every Monday, an episode comes out, just recording some of my thoughts and things that I've been learning. So a lot of my values are in that. And also, like I was saying, how they've been reshaped a lot this year as I've grown up and found myself more. And a lot of that live thinking about me working through my values and working how I want to represent myself in the world is on that podcast if you're interested. But I think largely your values come from your parents as you grow up until you do reach around 14, 15 and get into high school and have a really good group of friends. And my friends are amazing. And like I said, my family is amazing and my church community. So a lot of my values come from those places. And it is values of being kind, which it says on my shirt. Kindness, I love community. And I think that it's important for people to know they're not alone. So that also is kindness and just encouraging people. I value hard work because I think it helps you reach your dreams and it helps you contribute to society, and it allows you to go places that you wouldn't be able to do without putting in hard work. But I also just value being a good friend, I think, above anything else. So those are mine, and it's just important to me whenever I make decisions to consider how they relate back to my values. And I have a set of questions for myself that say, does this help me to be a kinder person within the community? Will this teach me more about myself and my relationships with other people? And questions like those. And if I ever have a big decision that I need to make and I'm not sure whether I should or shouldn't do something, I see, will it tick these boxes? Will it allow me to do those things? And then if yes, I'll go for it. If no, then I have to prioritize other things. So yeah.
That's amazing. And you could definitely say how your community and your close group of friends have helped you be in this kind of position. And I think, to summarize it, I think the top 3 things you mentioned about your values was honesty, being kind, and then third of all, learning more about yourself. And I think what I kind of understood reading between the lines a bit was that you know yourself experientially. So what I mean by that is that you know yourself through, I guess, more of what you don't like, which then helps you to understand more about what you do like. Like, that's the way I kind of heard it. Like, will this help me? Yes, no. And you're able to see, I guess, the good, like the light and the dark in everything, because we need those things just to teach us more about who we are.
Yeah, it makes sense. I hadn't thought about that way, but it is true. And sometimes it is easier to think, will this hinder me than will it help me? Because there are kind of a lot of good things in life. So it can be easier sometimes to see the things that are bad and work out your decisions based off of that. So yeah, it's interesting.
Okay. And what made you want to do that really cool checklist? Like, I think that is so smart. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is so clever.
I'm not sure what first inspired it. I'm not sure where I got it from, but I think I was just something that I often struggled with. Because like you said, I am a busy person and a lot of people know me within the community. So I'll often get asked about a whole range of different opportunities, even if it's, can you come babysit, or can you speak at this event, or a whole range of different things. And if I didn't have any guidelines to help me work out how I wanted to decide those things, I just never knew what to do. And it always caused stress about whether I should or shouldn't say yes or no to something. So probably at the start of last year, I wrote down these questions, my values, and some questions to ask myself. And it's come in handy for some of the bigger decisions in life, definitely.
That's amazing to hear. That is so inspiring. Do you suggest that other people do the same thing if they feel that their plate is too full?
Definitely, I think so. And working out which of those things benefit you. And it's not just about what benefits you, you want to be giving back as well. And often that's what ultimately will benefit you. But it is working out, is this activity a bit of a filler? Is it a bit of a time waster? Does it drain my energy? Or is that actually a really good way that I can learn and grow and empathize with more people and connect with more people? And it depends what it is for you. Maybe you're really into sport, so it's more important for you to go on lots of runs or be a part of training sessions and training groups, and that'll be your priority. So it might be, does this help me become healthier and faster or whatever? But whatever, your values are, I think it helps to have some guidelines or maybe phrases that you remind yourself of when you are trying to make a decision, just so that your life does reflect your values, because otherwise it can be so easy to get caught up in just going along with other things or what people expect from you without coming back to your values and what actually matters to you. I have found that.
I agree with you. And I often think as well, it's similar, like setting your values is similar to setting your goals in one way. So what I say to people is, like, as soon as you have a goal, it's the same as plugging into the GPS, your destination. And then so that way, if you have the goal here and then you're in the destination, you at least know like where you need to drive. Even if you get a bit detoured, that's okay, but it helps you go to that central point that you're aiming for. Whereas if you don't have that, you're kind of just wandering around a little bit lost, aren't you?
Definitely. No, that's clever. And I've used a similar thing. So I'm in grade 12 and I don't know what I'm going to do next year in terms of what career I want for my life. But I worked out earlier in the year a bit of a journey, and I worked out what my goals are or what my values are for my life. And I discovered that so long as I'm a community builder, a helper, and an encourager, in whatever role that might be. I could be a nurse and be doing that. I could be working in business and fulfilling those 3 things. But I just know that even though I might not know exactly what job I want to do, I at least have an idea of what role I want to be fulfilling or what my role in society is. And just that those values will be important to me, and I'll use them to then find a job that suits me. If that makes sense.
I think that is incredible, because what you're doing, that's actually similar to what I do, which is more focusing on the feeling. So it's not being too specific, right? And this is really powerful when it comes to like law of attraction kind of principles, right? Because you never want to be too fixed. You never want to say, I must be a police officer because I'll feel fulfilled. Instead, just focus on the feeling you want to feel. I want to feel fulfilled, enjoying my work, helping people, and being a part of the community. So instead, focus on how you feel, and then the right situations will plug in naturally.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
Love
because
that.
it's kind of more like energetic principles more than anything. Like, what will make me feel these four things, which are related to my values, if it shows up as a librarian or if it shows up as a nurse or as a doctor, doesn't matter, just go for it. But you won't know unless, I guess, you're guided by something. But then also, if you're open to where it could take you rather than being so rigid, good thinking. I love that. So many people are going to love that. That's amazing.
It's definitely given me a lot of peace about my future, because maybe I don't know exactly what role I want, but I at least, yeah, I know what direction I'm heading in and I know what my guiding principles are. So it's helpful for me, and I learned that definitely through trial and error, but I'm glad I discovered what works for me.
Yeah, and I guess your way of thinking isn't like the traditional way. So the traditional way is very much centered around what job, what career, like very structured. What made you do your way of thinking, and how could someone else implement that? Because I think that's very clever.
I think a lot of trial and error. Like I said, I am definitely known as a high achiever. I get very good grades at school, and everybody would expect me to take more of that traditional route. I could be a doctor or an engineer or any of those things if I wanted to be. But, and this is my big struggle that I've experienced at the start of the year and throughout this year, I've been really, really burnt out just because I've been working so hard at school and in the community and at everything I do for a very, very long time. And I just realized that, especially schoolwork, getting A's doesn't fulfill me, getting really high marks doesn't fulfill me. And so, because I was always putting energy into something that didn't fulfill me, yeah, I just ended up completely burnt out. And because of that, I've had to relearn what success means for me. Success isn't getting really high marks. Success for me now is being a community builder, is being an encourager, is being a helper. And that achieving highly for me isn't getting a really good job. It's being fulfilled, it's being happy, it's working towards something that makes me feel rewarded and fulfilled. And so I guess my advice to others is just work out what really does fulfill you, because my older sister, for example, loves learning and loves helping people. So she went straight from high school to studying because she wants to be a doctor, and she loves that. And that's what works for her and fulfills her. And that is the more normal timeline, I guess. But for me, I've just realized that that's not what works for me. And if I continue down that road, I'm just going to keep on getting burnt out. And so instead, even though it's hard, I need to learn to prioritize rest and prioritize what's right for me, and just trust that with hard work and passion and dedication, I'll still get to a successful place, or a place that gives me enough money to live, but also I'll be way more fulfilled. And if it means that I can help other people deter from the traditional path as well and also feel way more fulfilled, then that's exactly what I want to be doing.
That is so amazing. And I think if you could leave the audience with one thing around success, how would you suggest someone could help find their version of success? Because I noticed that really helped to guide you. So what do you think a take-home principle would be for someone at home, a little bit not as, focused in their thinking about this? Like, you seem really organized with it, but what happened when you first started?
Yes. Well, not to do a self plug, but I do have a podcast episode all about it called Living a Successful Life. And that really, it was very live and in the moment of trying to work out what it meant for me. But my advice would be just write down a list of what does make you come alive. And maybe it's the small things that you don't think could ever apply to a job or a career. It could be going for a run early in the morning. It could be looking at sunsets, photography, it could be messaging friends, it could be doing artwork, or any of these things. And then I would encourage you to think about ways that could be your life. Talk to parents or people around you and work out what options are there for you, because you can sell your art online. You can make beautiful things out of that. You could use running in your career. But also, what I'm realizing is it's not just my job with the responsibility to fulfill me. Even if my job allows me to help people, I have so much time in the rest of my life to fulfill those other aspects of my personality. So even if maybe your job, or you can't be a runner for your career, realize that you can still create a flexible life that allows you to do that and compete on the weekends or do other things, and that might be a successful life for you. But I just think being really real with yourself, questioning what makes you come alive, questioning what other people expect of you versus what actually you enjoy, and just realizing what makes you feel fulfilled at the end of the day, because success is not just one thing. It doesn't just mean getting straight A's or a really good title in a corporate job. If success for you means having a beautiful home or having a lot of time on the weekend to go running and things like that, then that is totally okay. And no one can tell you that that's not successful. If that's what makes you feel best, then that's amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, so practical and so valuable. Thank you.